Transit. I want to thank everybody for coming out here today. I am State Representative Morgan Cephas. I am the chair of the Philadelphia delegation, and I'm here with my colleagues all across the region to do what? Save mass transit. What are we doing today? Save mass transit. I want to thank so many people today for joining this fight, not just for 1 year or 2 years. I want to thank you for standing up for mass transit for 3 long years. Can I say save mass transit? Save mass transit. I want to thank Transit for All Pennsylvania for being out here. I want to thank Save the Train Coalition. We didn't cheer for Transit for All, so can we cheer for Transit for All, because they're taking care of all of Pennsylvania. I want to thank House Democrats for passing a bill to fund mass transit, not 1, 2, but 3 times. Thank you, House Democrats. I want to thank Senate Democrats for joining in on the fight and pressuring their colleagues to stand up for what is right in this moment, and that is to save mass transit. And I want to thank our City Council President for standing on the front lines when he does not have to, but he understands the fight as a former colleague up in the House of Representatives. He is now getting it done here in the city of Philadelphia to put up the resources in order to have the match. So I want to thank you for standing with us today. Again, I want to thank you all for joining the fight again for 3 long years. And I want to thank you that you are not just fighting for SEPTA, but you are fighting for mass transit in Pittsburgh, in Allentown, in Greensburg, in Indiana County, in Erie County. I want to thank everybody for fighting for mass transit across Pennsylvania, because we know this is not just a SEPTA thing. We know this is not just a suburban thing, but thank my suburbanites for coming into Philadelphia to be a part of this press conference. This is not just a rural thing. This is a people issue. This is a student issue. This is a disabled issue. It's a union issue, a worker issue, an economic issue, and it is a Pennsylvania issue to fund mass transit. So with my colleague from Bedford County, 200 miles away, pens an op-ed in the Inquirer to say we should privatize, to say that we should cancel lines, that we should cancel people getting to care, cancel people getting to work, cancel people to get downtown. I will say you are being fiscally irresponsible, because we are the region that produces 40% of the revenue in this Commonwealth, and the only way that we can produce it is by SEPTA moving people. But again, this is not just a SEPTA thing. Mass transit moves 233 million passengers, 24 million senior citizens, 284,000 passengers with disabilities. It is 61% of the passengers do not own a car and rely on these systems. So again, it's not just a Philly thing. It's not just a SEPTA thing. This is a Pennsylvania thing that we have to keep people moving, and the way we do that is by funding mass transit. Can we say fund mass transit? Fund mass transit. Fund mass transit. Fund mass transit. So I want to turn it over to my colleague, my partner in progress over in the Senate, whose district that we are in, Senator Saval. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair Cephas. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
No cuts? No way. We ride SEPTA every day, no cuts. No way. We ride SEPTA every day, no cuts. No way. We ride SEPTA every day.
No way. We ride SEPTA every day.
So my name is Nikhil Saval. It is my honor to represent the people and communities of Pennsylvania's 1st senatorial district, which we are in. And I'm honored also to chair the Philadelphia delegation in the Pennsylvania Senate. The district I represent is one of the densest, most dynamic districts in the Commonwealth. We are standing in it right now. And it is no coincidence that this district is also the most transit rich, one of the most transit rich. Today we are here because SEPTA kicks off public hearings on its proposed operating and capital budgets for next year. And we are here as legislators, advocates, and community leaders, and as writers. I apologize, by the way, for being late. My bus was full. So a lot of demand here to show our support for SEPTA. I'm so proud to be standing here with all of you. Public transit is an essential service, operating, as we've heard from our chair of the House delegation, in every county in our Commonwealth, connecting millions of people every day to their jobs, schools, healthcare, essential goods and services to their loved ones and back again. SEPTA riders take 800,000 trips every day throughout the region. Let's be clear about what faces us in the General Assembly. The General Assembly is poised. We are asking the General Assembly to fund public transit, but for years the General Assembly has starved transit systems across our Commonwealth. All funding allocated for transit represents just 13% of PennDOT's entire budget. Pennsylvania spends less per capita than any other state in the Northeast with a major transit system. For years, SEPTA has imposed measures to try and bridge the gap. It has found efficiencies. It has imposed austerity, not because of the General Assembly's parsimoniousness. And now without funding, there's nothing left for SEPTA to cut from its budget but service. Slash transit will harm our entire region and our entire Commonwealth. The greater Philadelphia region is just 5% of Pennsylvania's land area, but we produce 41% of its economic activity. If SEPTA is slashed, we face the loss of nearly 80,000 jobs and some $6 billion in potential wages, where our Commonwealth stands to lose more than $11 billion in tax revenue. More cars on the road means our streets are less safe, our air is more polluted, and those without the means to afford a car are left behind entirely. Our communities will lose access to the arts and sports and restaurants and abundant cultural riches that our city is renowned for, as well as access to health, education, and economic stability. We won't let this happen to Philly because we won't let this happen to SEPTA, and we won't let this happen to any other transit authority in this Commonwealth. The upcoming state budget is due June 30th, and we need the General Assembly, my colleagues in the Pennsylvania Senate, to come together to fully fund transit throughout our region and throughout our Commonwealth. We won't accept a state budget that fails to invest in SEPTA and the riders who use it to build their lives. And with that, I would like to pass it off to Bob Praviti from Save the Train.
Thank you. Council President, how are you? Hello, everybody. I'm proud to be here today on behalf of Save the Train Coalition, a partnership of 70 organizations representing more than 8,000 residents. We are also joined by our friends in Fifth Square and Transit Forward Philly. Governor Shapiro and Senate state leaders must avert this crisis and close SEPTA's budget gap, but they must do far more than that. Our leaders need to embrace a bold, forward-thinking investment strategy for public transit as part of a comprehensive statewide transportation plan that funds roads, bridges, highways, airports, and seaports. Lawmakers in Harrisburg say SEPTA is inefficient, behind the times, and that safety concerns and poor service is driving riders away. But SEPTA's ridership decline isn't about a lack of interest in trains or buses. It's because of inadequate service frequency, which discourages its use and pushes people onto the roads. And despite criticisms from certain Senate Republicans, SEPTA consistently performs well compared to other peer transit agencies nationwide in terms of how efficiently it uses public funds according to the state's own audits. SEPTA's critics say the agency needs a bold vision, but SEPTA already has a host of thoughtful proposals. And if you go to their website, at the bottom of the homepage is a quick links. Under initiatives, it has plans for a bus revolution, reimagine regional rail, where the system would run every 15 minutes, and a comprehensive trolley modernization. These improvements, among many others, would make transit more reliable and attractive, boosting ridership and relieving congestion on I-95 and the Schuylkill Expressway. but they can't happen without capital investment dollars, similar to what the Republicans want for our highways, roads, bridges, and seaports. The Delaware Valley is blessed to have so much infrastructure, rail infrastructure, but how can we realistically expect the agency to grow ridership when its budget and therefore its ability to run trains and buses and trolleys frequently is so limited? Hourly service is not enough. A bare bones budget won't bring riders back. Shapiro and Senate Republicans must find the political will to not only help SEPTA in the immediate financial crisis with their operating budget, they must also find capital dollars to help the agency transform. We want SEPTA to not only survive, we want it to thrive. This must be done as part of the comprehensive transportation package that we spend money on public transit, highways, roads, and bridges. Thank you. With that, I want to pass it along to my dear friend, Council President Johnson.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. First and foremost, I want to thank Chairman of the Senate Delegation, Nikhil Saval. Give him a round of applause. As well as the Chairwoman of the Philadelphia Delegation, Councilwoman State Representative Morgan Cephas. Give her a round of applause. And let's give a round of applause to the Philadelphia Delegation as a whole, because they've been working day in and day out on this issue. So repeat after me. Save SEPTA now.
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 When we fight,
We win.
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 if we don't get funding, shut it down. If we don't get funding,
Shut it down.
if we don't get funding,
Shut it down.
if we don't get funding,
Shut it down.
let's clap it up, y'all. Listen, I came out here today to show my solidarity with my colleagues in Harrisburg who are fighting day in and day out to make sure we fully fund SEPTA. Now, I do want to give credit to the Philadelphia delegation, because this past Friday, they attempted to bring Senate Republicans to the city of, not they attempted, they brought Senate Republicans to the city of Philadelphia to take a tour of our SEPTA transit system. Let's give them a round of applause for that. And I'm gonna tell you why that's so important. I'm a former state representative, and although we love SEPTA and we love the city of Philadelphia, there's other parts of the state of Pennsylvania that do not look happily amongst us as Philadelphians. They despise all the things that come out of the city of Philadelphia. And so for them to bring Senate Republicans here to our city to see how efficient SEPTA is, how important SEPTA is a part of that process. So for me, I look forward, and I feel a little bit of hope today, because we have outstanding leadership in Harrisburg that are fighting on this issue day in and day out. Some people say, listen, we have to make sure we fund SEPTA for 2026, the birthplace of the nation. I think that's great. That's cute. A lot of people from around the world will be here celebrating. But for me, as a neighborhood guy that grown up in SEPTA, we have to make sure that SEPTA is still running for the seniors who are going to and from the doctor's office, the children who are going to and from school, the workers that are going to and from work every single day. So for me, we cannot let this happen under our watch. I want to say publicly, and I said it that last Friday, this will not happen under my watch. I will work every day in partnership with our leaders in Harrisburg to make sure we get the funding that's needed to support SEPTA. But also, I'm going to wrap up by saying this. This is also a call to action. This is also a call to action. So when Nikhil said, Council President, I want you to come down and participate in this rally today, we also noticed that today, in the next few days, there are hearings. There are public hearings on the budget and the capital budget for SEPTA that we need you to make sure people show up You have to show up and make your voices known. So beyond this rally, make sure you get the schedule, text your family, text your friends, and make sure they come up, they come out, they show out, and make sure they speak truth to power regarding supporting SEPTA. God bless everyone.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to note many of my colleagues who are here from the House and Senate. From the Pennsylvania Senate, Senator Carolyn Comita, Senator John Kane, Senator Tim Carney, Senator Capoletti was also on the train coming in. From the Pennsylvania House, Representative Scott, Borowski, Daley, Hohenstein, Boyd, Gallagher, Solomon, Krajewski, obviously Representative Cephas. Have I missed anyone? Doherty. Mary Jo Daley. Yes. Thank you all for being here. Many of whom have come, all of whom came in on the train, on the regional rail, by SEPTA to get here. I'm now honored to pass it to an extraordinary advocate for public transit from Transit for All Pennsylvania, Connor DeShoemaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator. Really appreciate it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. My name is Connor DeShoemaker. I am the statewide campaign manager for Transit for All PA. We are a group organizing for fully funded public transportation in all 67 counties. I can say to this audience that I live in South Philly and I don't own a car. To live my life, I rely on the 37, the 17, the 2, and the B line. I'm proud to be here with elected officials from across the SEPTA region, dozens of SEPTA riders and advocates, and union members who depend on public transportation every day to move our region. In our campaign, we work in solidarity with riders and workers from Scranton to State College, Erie to Harrisburg, Johnstown to Pottstown, Philly to Pittsburgh. In 2007 and 2013, the PA legislature, led by Republicans in both bodies, agreed that we need to fully and sustainably fund public transportation. In 2022, that expired. And now, COVID relief funding has run out for transit agencies across PA, leading to enormous structural deficits and permanently changed travel patterns. These are things it takes time to adjust to. And inflation is only getting worse, squeezing our riders and our workers on all sides. Now SEPTA is looking at cutting over 50 bus routes and 5 train routes while limiting hours, while limiting hours and distances across dozens more routes. Paratransit, the lifeline to our elders and disabled populations, has a $70 million structural deficit statewide, which we already know is providing unreliable service. Our workers and riders cannot abide this. We need funding to keep our transit systems running, to reorganize service where needed, recover from operator shortages, and enhance reliable service. We have been for years shortchanged by our legislature, as folks have already mentioned. While SEPTA earns the 6th most in farebox revenue, our local support is preempted and therefore limited, leading to the 29th most local support in the country, lower than Phoenix and Houston. Come on now, Philly is better than that. Remember when I-95 collapsed? It was national news, and everybody at every level of government agreed that a fix was needed immediately. Through Philly, that road serves 195,000 cars per day. Not too shabby. SEPTA, that serves nearly 4 times as many people per day. 800,000 passengers each and every day. Come on now, all right? And if SEPTA goes through, imagine every single person in Pittsburgh, elders and children, being added to our roads every single day. Our roads literally cannot handle that. All right, this is infrastructure we already have. People all over the country are clamoring to get this kind of service that we have here in the SEPTA region, and it cannot be restored. When you cut this kind of thing, it takes decades to get back, and that's only with monumental will. I will restate, public transportation is in every county in the Commonwealth, with over a dozen agencies providing fixed route service. This is not just an urban issue, and we need to repeatedly and conclusively combat that false narrative that we are hearing from the legislature and other interests. Transit moves our elders, students, disabled populations. We need permanent dedicated funding, and that means no job losses, stable contracts and hours for workers, participation in our economy and culture for all people, and the foundation for transit that allows us access to our full selves. I've been to Pittsburgh, Bellefonte, Trafford, Wilkes-Barre, Harrisburg, Chester, Levittown, Paoli, Philly, King of Prussia, all over the state of Pennsylvania for this fight, and I need you to be doing the same thing, all right? We need to be talking to our family members and our friends all over the Commonwealth. We're in Philly today, and this is the backbone of our economy, the backbone of our state. But it does not stop here. I know that this is only a fraction of the full story here, so I'm going to give us some chance here to close this out. Fund transit, you're going to say for all PA after everything I say. So fund transit for all PA. The bus for all PA. Bus drivers for all PA. Yes, transit for all PA. Thank you.
BSL, MFL, trolley, and the bus. Money spent on SEPTA is money spent on us. BSL, MFL, trolley, and the bus. Money spent on SEPTA is money spent on us. All right. I got to dance to introduce my colleague from Delaware County, Senator Tim Carney.
Hey, good morning, riders. Hi, Philly. Greetings from Delco. I'm Tim Carney. I represent parts of Delco in the state Senate, including the towns along 3 regional rail lines, 69th Street Terminal Station, all its buses and trolleys. Delco is the second largest user behind Philadelphia County of SEPTA, and we need SEPTA to keep the suburbs moving. I'm here to bring a suburban take on all this. This morning, Senators John Kane, Carolyn Comita, Amanda Capoletti, State Reps Lisa Borowski, Carol Kazim, Heather Boyd, Greg Scott, and Mary Jo Daly, and I all rode the Paoli-Thorndale line from the suburbs all the way in, hour and 15 minutes. It was from Paoli. When we got into the city, we picked up Representative Morgan Cephas in Overbrook. We're also joined here today by my colleague Sharif Street. He lives in the city, so he came his own way. You know, the train cars that we rode in on were packed because it costs SEPTA millions of dollars each year just to lease the rights to use the main line, Amtrak's main line. The Paoli-Thorndale line is on the chopping block because of that. We're here to say, no cuts, no way. No cuts, no way. No cuts, no way. We got off at Jefferson Station to stand with the riders and workers and to call on the legislature to rise to the occasion and fully fund SEPTA. SEPTA integrates the suburbs with the city and connects all of us with greater opportunities, education, and culture. Supporting SEPTA is a no-brainer for folks like me from Southeast Pennsylvania, but in Harrisburg, where there are so many rural and ex-urban Republicans, I often have to spell out why they need to care about transit. It's the economy, stupid. All the jobs that SEPTA supports, the materials and supplies they procure from all over the state. SEPTA creates over $2 billion in annual direct economic impact in Pennsylvania. SEPTA is the connecting arteries to our economy, helping hundreds of thousands of people get to and from work safely, affordably, and efficiently. The SEPTA-supported Greater Philadelphia economy generates 41% of Pennsylvania's GDP, covers 32% of the population in the Commonwealth, and only 5% of its land. There's no way we could achieve this level of economic power and density without transit. And that's just SEPTA. What about Pittsburgh Regional Transit? What about every county transit agency in the state, the unsung heroes of our smaller cities and rural communities? Every day they are out across the state helping connect some of those marginalized Pennsylvanians to jobs, to groceries, to health care, and to transportation systems. We can't abandon some of the greatest economic assets in our state. We live in a critical moment across the country as changes in the way people live and work are transforming our real estate and transportation systems. We can't let this moment set off a transit death spiral. We need to stand strong and to grow our communities and grow our economy by investing. We can have the greatest transit system in the country if we simply choose to. So fund transit today, fund transit tomorrow, and let's all ride the train.
So my colleague, our colleague in Philadelphia, Senator Tina Tartaglione, could not be here, but she asked that we share some of what she had was preparing for today. So I'm just going to share a brief statement from Senator Tartaglione. Tartaglione says, this isn't just a Philly issue, this is a Pennsylvania issue. Transit systems across our Commonwealth are at risk, and the cost of doing nothing will be felt everywhere. If we let this system fail, we will all feel it. Less access, more traffic, higher pollution, fewer jobs. That is not the future we want. That is not the future you deserve. We are not going to let SEPTA fall apart on our watch, not today, not ever. So let's raise our voices, let's fight for funding, let's fight for transit, let's fight for Philly. Because we are not going anywhere unless SEPTA takes us there. With that, I am honored to bring on from a great fighting union, Tyrone Patterson from SEIU 32BJ. 32? 32? 32?
Good day, all. My name is Tyrone Patterson, and I'm a proud member of 32BJ. I work at a building called 3 Logan Square. I have worked for a vicinal number of years, to be exact, 21 years in the same building. So now I'm here to talk about my transportation around Philadelphia. First, the job. Riding SEPTA has been both saved my money and save time. I ride what we call in Philadelphia the L, formerly called the Blue Line. It takes me all of 45 minutes round trip to and from the job. Price is about $25 a week on public transportation, versus $125 if I had to park in Philadelphia. So for an average worker, that is a savings of about $400 a month, or $4,800 a year. Now, this is not to mention the hassle of time and the waste getting to and from work. Now, there are other times I use SEPTA, doctor appointments, nights out around the city. I have found public transportation very adequate. I have friends that moved to Philadelphia solely for this reason. I'm a middle-class citizen in Philadelphia, so I try my very hardest to make the numbers work. Without public transportation, my transportation prices would increase exponentially as car insurance raises from $3,000 to $4,000 for full coverage a year. This is a very sizable piece of my salary. So, with that, I hope I have made you aware of what public transportation means to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tyrone. Now I'm honored to bring up my colleague from the Pennsylvania House. We both serve on our respective transportation committees and welcomed our colleagues to Philadelphia, Representative Joe Hohenstein.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Senator. And Tyrone and I have something in common. We share a love for what I call the Frankfurt L. So I'm from up on the other end of the L. Tyrone said he's from out at 56 and Market and goes all the way out to Upper Darby. We have some Upper Darby folks in the house, don't we? All right. But for real, SEPTA and transit around Pennsylvania are the unsung heroes of the Pennsylvania economy, and that's what we're here for. We've got folks from our union, 32BJ, we've got folks from the Transit Workers Union who have supported this, TWU 234. So SEPTA's regular job is moving people with the 5th largest system in the U.S. Now, normally, SEPTA responds with whatever the city and region needs. No hesitation, no blips, no glitches, just that basic Philadelphia attitude, or attitude. I think that's how my grandmom used to say it. I just say, what do you need? We got you. That's what they did with the Super Bowl parade. It's what they do every time when we've got games like we have over the weekend, Phillies games. People move. People move. That's what SEPTA does. Now, we have to step up and be there for them. We in the Pennsylvania House, in the Senate, we need our governor, all of us, to stand up and not hammer haw, but just say, yeah, we got you. What do you need? So, one space, protecting transit workers. Rep. Tariq Khan and I have a bill that would provide grant funding for the safety of those workers because we know how dangerous the job is. The bill would give the workers and the unions input and opportunity to guide where the money goes for the protective equipment and facilities that they need. Protecting the public has to be a part of any of our good public transit systems. And we've got a mayor who talks about making sure things are getting cleaner, safer, and greener in Philadelphia, right? And SEPTA has to be and will be right at the center of that. Yep. Yeah, right? We got to make sure it's safe, and that's one of the things that we heard before. That's when people will come back. In another place, I've got a bill with Representative Ben Waxman, and we would provide for flexible, what they call local share funding, so that cities like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, counties like Montco, Delco, Chester, Bucks, could all establish their own sources of funding to be able to take advantage of federal funding that is out there. Yeah. So if we pass that bill or put that policy into practice, we're not going to just see filling a gap like we did last year with flex funding from the governor. What we're going to see is a regular source of income every year for transit and for the infrastructure that it provides. Now, some folks have talked a little bit about how many trips we've got. In SEPTA itself moves close to 10 or 11 full House of Representative districts. Each House district, 203 of them in Pennsylvania, has about 65,000 people in it. Every single day, SEPTA is moving the equivalent of 10 of those districts all by itself, and does it again without any blips, glitches, no hesitation. So this is what we've got to do. And we hear from the other side of the aisle, we hear from the other sides of the state, well, you know what? We don't really need to help Philly and Pittsburgh. And what I say to that is, okay, but help yourselves. When you look at Bedford County, when you look at Northampton County, when you look at Blair County, there are direct jobs that come in each of those places from contracts that they have with either SEPTA or PRT out in Pittsburgh. We create their jobs. The economic impact that comes from being able to have a solid transit system cannot be understated. Again, the unsung hero of the Pennsylvania economy is the mass transit systems that we are trying to protect today.
Yeah.
All right. So One of the things that I'm just gonna wrap up with is to say, look, we have a common sense solution. We can come together and figure this out, give more autonomy to local governments in the areas that are served by public transit systems, generate the revenue that those systems need to grow, expand, modernize, and we will make our 2 world-class cities. I'm going to say Pittsburgh's a world-class city. Is that right? Are we okay, even though we're all Philly legislators, Philly people?
That's all
right. We'll give Pittsburgh its due. It's going to host the NFL draft in just a little bit. But we are going to make sure the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, not just Philly and Pittsburgh, benefit and become better places to work, to live, and to raise our kids. So, we here in Philly, we'll buy the rest of the state that beer. If you just come on over, give us a little bit of attitude, a little bit of love, a little bit of funding, and we will be here for you just the way that we always have been. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over now to my friend and colleague, my fellow Philadelphian, Senator Sharif Street.
All right. Fund it now. Listen, SEPTA is an integral part of all of our lives. For me, when I first started going to high school, and I'd get out my house, walk down to Broad Street, get on it, Broad and Susquehanna, and ride up to Central High School. Later on in life, when I graduated and I came back, I rode SEPTA, the Orange Line, down to the Blue Line and got off at Penn Law School. At one point in time, I was an intern at the Black History Museum, and I'd ride SEPTA over down in the Old City and get off. It has been a part of my life for my entire life. But I will tell you, SEPTA is important not just because of each of us as a human story, but as Representative Hohenstein pointed out, it allows the Commonwealth to generate the revenue that powers Pennsylvania. Let's be really clear. If you look at gross revenue generated to the Commonwealth, there are only 6 counties that are revenue positive. Every other county is revenue negative. It's the 5 SEPTA counties and Allegheny County. That's just the facts. So we're not really asking the Commonwealth to subsidize SEPTA. We're just asking the Commonwealth to give us a portion of the money that our region generates for the Commonwealth. You see, if you shut down the Southeast, the Commonwealth won't have the money to pay for the roads and bridges that power the rest of the state. Because when we pay our gas tax, we're paying for their roads and bridges because most of that money doesn't come here. If our roads are too jam-packed that people can't get to work and they don't even bother trying and our business is shut down, then we won't be generating the corporate franchise tax. We won't be generating the sales and use tax. We won't be generating the taxes that give the Commonwealth the very money that we're asking for. The revenue that drives the Commonwealth comes out of this region. Pennsylvania is powered by this region, and this region is powered by SEPTA. You can have big CEOs. You can have CEOs of corporations downtown that may drive in, but the rank and file people that work in those office buildings ride SEPTA. You can talk about the great museums and the great works of art, but the people that stand there to let you in, the security guards, the people that take your ticket, they're all riding SEPTA. The very economic engine of this Commonwealth is dependent on SEPTA moving forward. So yes, it's the right thing to do because senior citizens need it to get to the doctor's appointment. And yes, it's the right thing to do because neighbors need it to get to work. But it's the right thing to do to my colleagues because guess what? The Pennsylvania budget problems are a lot worse if we don't keep generating net positive revenue to the Commonwealth. You need to do it because SEPTA powers this region and this region powers the Commonwealth. You need to do it because it is not the morally imperative thing to do, which it is, but it is an economic imperative that the Commonwealth continue to fund SEPTA so that this region can continue to fund the Commonwealth. We need to fund SEPTA. We need to fund it now. It needs to be in this budget, and it needs to be recurring revenue so that we can continue, so that we don't have these disruptions over and over again. Fund it now. Fund it now.
Thank you, Senator Street. Senator Street and I, we represent Broad Street line collectively, so we often just take the Broad Street line and meet in the middle sometimes. They say cut back, we say fight back. They say cut back, we say they say cut back, we say fight back. We say that was a new one. Now it is my honor. We've been talking a lot about what people use SEPTA to do, and so to speak to that very issue, it is my honor to bring up Dr. Spencer Chen, who works at the University of Pennsylvania and is in the dual program, UPenn and CHOP program in pediatrics. Dr. Chen.
Yeah, let's get him. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. Thanks, everyone. Hey, my name is Dr. Spencer Chen, and I'm a resident physician dual trained in internal medicine and pediatrics. I work at the Hospital University of Pennsylvania and the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. I'm also a proud member of our resident physician union, CIR-SEIU, a committee for interns and residents. Every day, my colleagues and I, doctors, nurses, environmental service workers, and all of the workers that make our hospital run rely on SEPTA to show up for our patients, and we depend on SEPTA every day to take care of our communities, our grandparents, our little ones, our neighbors, and you. From early mornings to rush hours, to the middle of the night, we rely on SEPTA to bring us to work and to bring us home. We travel across Philadelphia, from South Philly to Cobbs Creek to Fox Chase, to care for fellow Philadelphians in outpatient clinics, community hospitals, and our neighborhoods. We depend on SEPTA to care for our communities, and we also know that our communities need SEPTA to thrive. Numerous studies, including a recent statement from the American Heart Association, tell us that access to reliable public transit leads to better health outcomes. It reduces chronic illnesses, it cuts down emergency room visits, it gives people a fighting chance. And when heart disease and diabetes are the leading cause of harm and death in urban cities across the world, we have an opportunity and we have an obligation. Fully funding SEPTA isn't just a transportation issue. It's a public health intervention. It's health equity. It's climate justice. And it's racial and economic justice. Funding SEPTA is about building a healthier and more equitable Philadelphia. So today we have a choice. We can let our transit system wither, or we can invest in a future where no one is denied what they need simply because they can't get there, whether it be healthcare, a job, school, or any opportunity. I believe in that future, and I believe we can build it together. So when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. Great job, Doc. Great job, Doc.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chen. Now I'd like to bring up our colleague, one of the newest members of the Pennsylvania House, but one of the strongest, our dear friend, Representative Sean Doherty.
Thank you, Senator. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Sean Doherty, and I represent the 172nd District of Northeast Philadelphia. Take a guess how I got down here today. The train. I live right around the corner from the Fox Chase line. Before I was a state representative, I was a public defender here in Philadelphia. I took the train every single day to come down here to go across the street to the CJC. The train is packed every morning and on the way home. It's how my neighbors get to work. You know, we're all here because we want to fund SEPTA. It's funny because it seems that everyone wants to fund SEPTA, except the Senate Republicans. Now, that was a little play on words. But I'll tell you this, if we don't fund SEPTA, we'll all be honking our horns at each other on 95, 76, and the Boulevard. I don't know about you, but I hate traffic. Let me tell you this. our voices can be louder than our horns. Call your state senators, call your elected officials, talk to everyone you know about how crucial it is that we fund SEPTA. You know, there's people in this Commonwealth that view SEPTA as welfare. Well, that's not the case at all. Because I know every time I tap this card, my money is going to roads and bridges in all 67 counties of this Commonwealth. As Senator Street said, the time to fund SEPTA is now. So in the words of our great governor, Governor Josh Shapiro, let's get this shit done. Thank you.
GSD. I don't think we fully appreciated the "sept the Senate Republicans" joke. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So with that, I want to close us out with Councilmember Nicholas O'Rourke.
Say no cuts. No way. We do what?
Ride SEPTA every day.
Every day. Someone say no cuts.
No way.
No way.
No way.
We ride SEPTA
Every day.
Good morning, Philadelphia.
Good morning.
Thank you all for being here at SEPTA headquarters. Big pretty building, isn't it? Right before today's public hearing, it matters that we show up and that we speak out, because as has already been articulated by a number of those who have spoken before me, millions of us, that's with an M, millions of us, SEPTA shows up for us every single day. It's important for all of us to recognize that. Whether it's getting to City Hall, whether it's getting to the corner store, whether it's getting to the church, whether it's getting to the club, wherever you're going, SEPTA is the great equalizer, as it were, of the city and of this region. In a city as divided by race and wealth as ours happens to be, SEPTA is one of the few public goods that can still get us all to the same place on the same vehicle at a reasonable price. And for a long time now, SEPTA has been a pivotal portal for our returning citizens. Y'all remember them, right? Our neighbors behind the wall. It's the vessel that actually delivers them back home. It's a real and tangible bridge between incarceration and reintegration. Maybe there's someone out here today who knows what that ride is like. I cannot confess to knowing what that's like, but I imagine that it's a very important, life-changing ride that is essential for so many of our returning citizens. Isn't that right? Yeah. Listen, I have been advocating, along with a broad base of Philadelphians, for a program called Zero Fare. Somebody say Zero Fare.
Zero Fare.
It's one that subsidizes trips for Philadelphians in poverty, and I've been proud to do it. Yeah. It's a program that actually does what everyone says that they want to do, which is expand economic opportunity for all. While at the same time, tackling one of the key drivers of something that we all claim we care about addressing, poverty. And that is by providing transportation access. Does that make sense to anybody out here today? I'm proud to say that thanks to that advocacy and to your community support, we saved the program for at least one more year. Make some noise for that. I appreciate Madam Mayor recognizing the importance of a program like Zero Fare, one that checks off her economic opportunity for all box every day of the week, and we're staying laser focused on getting this done. Now, as our city's budget process winds down, many of you know we have been in weeks upon weeks of hearings here in the city of Philadelphia. I'm here to remind everybody that Zero Fare needs to be fully funded. Somebody say fully funded. Not partially funded, not part the way funded, not halfway funded, not a little bit funded. Somebody say fully funded. This program works. It works. It's proven to work, and it needs its full $30 million to keep making a difference. Somebody say fully funded. Fully funded. Just last week, the Urban Institute published a review of 17 discounted transit fare programs across the country, and they called Philadelphia's Zero Fare pilot quote, a class of its own. Yeah. Y'all like that? Yeah. Somebody say fully funded. Fully funded. I'm excited to learn more about its impact, but it's clear that there's a lot of promise right here with this program. We need to be seriously considering how to expand it and make it permanent, and that's why I've introduced legislation creating a Philadelphia Transit Access Fund, which would dedicate 0.5% of the city's general fund every year to a transit access program for our most vulnerable residents. So that even as we push Harrisburg, our senator colleagues and our representative colleagues to do its part, we also show that Philly is doing its part, because they like to pretend like we're not. Somebody make some noise for that. Because let's be real, if SEPTA suffers, the region suffers. The whole Commonwealth depends on this city's economy. We are the economic engine of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You can't call yourself the Keystone State if you let the Keystone City's transit system fall apart. It don't make no sense. It does not add up. We are effectively in the second Gilded Age, as it were. My comms director tells me that all the time. And in our second Gilded Age, we need some more equalizing institutions, and we had better hold on to the ones that we have. So we need the political will to protect the ones that we have. As a member of our local legislature, I want to let my state partners know, I see Rep. Cephas here, I see our senator colleagues here, Rep. Hohenstein as well, everybody that's here, that I'm fighting with them and praying for you all as you work to bring sight to the blind, as it were, folks that refuse to see the essential nature of this system right here in the city of Philadelphia. It shouldn't take a miracle, it really shouldn't, to get this job done. It takes a modicum, though, of care, compassion, understanding for what we claim that this country is all about, which is the chance to build a better life, a better block, a better neighborhood, a better city, a better region, and ultimately a better USA. Isn't that good news to anybody else? That's what makes this fight, this advocacy, and this moment so pivotal. So I know I'm speaking for so many of my constituents when I echo and I say, no cuts, no way, rewrite SEPTA every, no cuts, no way, rewrite SEPTA every way. Come on, let's get it done. Let's make sure that we win for working people all across the Commonwealth, especially here in the city of Philadelphia. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Just some quick announcements. Thank you to all the advocates. Thank you to the organizations. Thank you to my colleagues. Thank you to everyone for fighting for this. For those of you who are going to testify on behalf of SEPTA, the time is now to enter to testify at the budget hearings. We need your voices. Those of us we are going back to Harrisburg in June. Some of us, am I right, Rep. Hohenstein, on the Transportation Committee are going to Altoona next week to ride transit there and to fight for transit everywhere. So we're not just stopping here, because everywhere we go, people want to know, how we get there, so we tell them, we take SEPTA, mighty, mighty SEPTA, our transit system, the Girard Avenue trolley, the 17 bus, the Frankfurt L, everywhere we go, people want to know, how we get there, so we tell them, we take SEPTA, mighty, mighty SEPTA, transit system. Thank you. We're here. We'll stay for questions.
That was awesome.